Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome to the lectern our second speaker for the evening, Keith Jelly, with his speech titled Boring, Boring, Boring. Boring, 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 Keith Jelly.
Isn't life boring? You go to work, 9 to 5, nothing ever happens. It's always the same old thing, day in, day out. Boring. Rubbish! It doesn't have to be that way. Tonight I'm going to share some stories, some unboring, not so boring stories about when I was working with military systems. Now, military systems are very sensitive. It's a serious business. There are checks and balances and controls. They need to make sure that everything is right. And of course, it's dangerous. Or can be dangerous. We used to build gun control systems for big guns on tanks and ships. We whizzed these big, massive chunks of steel around so that they could track aeroplanes, missiles, ships, and things like that. One of the steps in developing these systems is to write software for them. And we used to test them in this test turrets, and they were set up in a test building. And we would climb in the turret, and we'd have our computers with us, and we'd write the programs. And we'd have test equipment on top of the turret to tell us how well we were doing. Well, we knew we were doing really well because we were swinging the turret around, and this piece of test equipment was swinging around on the end of a power cord. Swinging around, banging and banging and banging on the tank as it went around. It didn't work after that. The test equipment, that is. The tank didn't feel a thing. Another step in the process is to go to firing trials. That's really good because now you get to shoot real live ammo. You blow things up, and it's a whole lot of fun with boys and their toys. The firing range is always away from where all the people are. Actually, it's in the middle of the desert. We pitched up on the first afternoon, and we still needed to do a little bit of changes to the system that night before the test the next day. So there we were, sitting on top of the tank with our computers, and it was sub-zero temperatures. The wind was howling past, and we had to put on every single piece of clothing that we had with us. 3 pairs of trousers, 3 shirts, 2 jerseys, a jacket, beanies, earmuffs, and still we froze. The next day, when we were doing the tests, it was so hot. We fried an egg on the top of the turret. It took us 30 minutes, I will admit, but it was ready for lunchtime. Another test we did, we had to travel quite far into the range. And so we were driving our car, a hire car I might add, down the dirt road, and we came around this corner, and there was this turret, 200 meters in front of us. The gun swung around, pointed directly at our car. It was a live firing trial, and it was a toilet moment for us. Actually, the gun wasn't pointing at us. It was pointing at an aeroplane above and behind us, but we didn't know that. Apparently, someone was supposed to be stopping us from coming around the corner, but they were not at their post. We had a laugh that night over beers, but only because it did in fact end safely. My last story is about the Navy. We were doing another one of these trials, but at sea. And we were tracking and shooting at this plane that was towing a target. We were shooting the target. It was a really successful trial, and we were already pumped up as we headed back to the harbour. The skipper said to me, "Fancy a beer? Your shout." "No problem," I said, and I thought to myself, there's no beers on the ship, I'm easy. To my astonishment, the captain ordered the crew to park alongside the pub at the entrance to the harbour. Here we are, parking this huge warship right parallel to the deck where all the guys are sitting. And their patrons of the bar are there with big eyes. The next thing I knew, the gangplank was down, 3/4 of the crew were in the pub, and I was $500 poorer. 2 drinks, and we were all back onto the boat. And the skeleton crew took the ship back to the Navy base. The skipper was reprimanded for his action. But he didn't actually care, because he was checking out of the Navy in 2 weeks' time. So that's it. A few boring days. Gee, I can't wait to go back to work. And imagine this, they actually pay me.